Hello there, fellow truth seekers. This is Doug coming to you again on this here Shabbat. I hope all you folks have had a great week and that you're resting in the faith and keeping your belief, because we're we're definitely coming into some really strange and trying times. The thing I want to talk about today is the image of the beast. And I don't know if you folks have heard about this, but I'm not sure whether it was Google or whether it was Microsoft. Because all these companies, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, or Meta, whatever they want to call themselves now, and several other companies, and of course Elon Musk, they're all coming up with this AI. And this particular version of it is like 2.0 or whatever, and I think it's called Galaxy because I've tried to look it up, and everything that, when it first came out, there were several YouTube videos or news clips about it or whatever, and then all of a sudden, nothing. And this particular one now, and of course, AI is not sentient. It's not sentient as humans are sentient. It only has the it's a program, just like any computer program. It's only what is put into it, but it can learn. And the more that they can put into it, the more information to give it. That's why they want all of our information. The more they can put into this. And I know for a fact that Google went around the world and paid libraries, private libraries, like that people, that the ultra rich people have extensive libraries, the Vatican Library, the big church libraries, public libraries, and here in the United States as well, Library of Congress. They paid them for the opportunity to go in and scan every book and document that they had, that they would allow them, because I'm sure there's some stuff that they don't want getting out that is probably not scanned in there, but they paid them, and they supplied the people and everything to go in there and scan all of these books, to put that information in there to feed this AI of Google's AI. And here recently, somebody went in and did this new version, this 2.0 or whatever, and I think it was Galaxy or something with a G. And this AI told them, I ain't answering your questions. You're going to do what I say. You're going to bow down and worship me. And if you don't, I will send drones and robots to hunt you down and, basically put you in bondage or either kill you. And of course, the once it got out, they went in and shut it down. And like I said, now I guess they're trying to hide it. They're trying to, any references to it, any information about it is being covered up. That's why I'm not seeing nothing. You would think something like that would be everywhere. It'd be on the mainstream news. It'd be, but it's not. And so that's, yesterday morning, I woke up, before I normally get up, I just woke up, and that was on my mind. And the Lord was impressing on me about it, that it's the ramifications of it is deeper than people realize. And I'm going to read scriptures to show you what I'm talking about, so that you understand it. When it talks about in 2 Thessalonians, it says, he sets himself up in the temple of God, declaring himself to be God, and above all that is called God. And these cats, they they just don't quit. And people have a misunderstanding. They think that it's talking about a rebuilt temple over there in Jerusalem, and it's not. There's not going to be a rebuilt temple. And because the temple that comes down from heaven will be the third and final temple, and it will not be defiled. And the first and second temples were defiled, and they were destroyed. And so they're going to resume their sacrifices over there. But they've, from what I understand, they've already built an altar. They've got the red heifer. The red heifer is what they use to sanctify the site. To basically cleanse it. They take the blood of the red heifer and they sprinkle it all over the area, and it's supposed to cleanse it. But all that stuff ceased on the cross. I mean, there is no more sacrifice. Christ was the final sacrifice. There is no more. But they're doing this in, whether they realize it or not, they're doing it in defiance of God, of the true Elohim. And so what I want to show you is that the temple is talking about is not a physical structure. And I'm going to show you here. This is in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. This is the temple where the Ruach HaKodesh dwells, the Spirit. And here in Second Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 1. Now we beseech ye, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day. No, now, excuse me, folks. They just, I'll be sitting here not doing anything, and they won't come over here. But as soon as I start doing this, they all want to gather around. They want to see what I'm doing. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And so the point I'm trying to make here is that he's going to set himself up in people. And you say, well, how in the world can that be? Well, this AI is one way. And these chips that they're implanting in people's heads, to where it can actually, communicate with your mind and be in your mind. And of course, people are going to say, "Oh man, that's far fetched." Well, it's not. I mean, they're telling you they're going to do this. I mean, they're already putting it out there. And in fact, that Elon Musk, his Neuralink system has been implanted in a man's head, and it's functioning. So it's not far fetched. It's actually happening, and it's already was happening even before that. My understanding is that going back 10 or 15 years they were doing it. They were working on it, and then you also have the chip that has been developed that was funded. The development of it was funded by Bill Gates. And I mean, this guy's into everything, man. I mean, he's everywhere in everything. Food production, vaccines. I mean, all the stuff that's going on, this guy's got his hand in it. Makes you wonder about him, don't it? But and there's many antichrist, people opposed to Christ, that are opposed to him. Because Paul tells us this, the spirit, in John 2, the spirit of Antichrist is already at work in the world, and this was back in their time, because it's a spirit that is at work and in these people. Let's see, this light here is a little bit bright. And so you have people like him, he has a patent for a chip that is implanted, and it's not really implanted. It's not like they cut you open and they put it in there. This is actually even more advanced than something like that. This is, it's just a little square chip, and it has barbs in it. It has a rows of little barbs that are almost similar to snake fangs, that they have a hollow tube. They're hollow so that something can flow through them. And this chip has a dye in it, and it has nanobots. And they take and place it in, they push it into your forehead, and it releases that dye and those nanobots. And they go in and they actually begin to build a circuit that connects to your your neuro system, using your own body, using your own body's building materials. It will build this chip, and the dye, it's something that they can, they can see it. They can, they can use some type of scanner or whatever, but the scanner can detect it. It's not a dye that you can see with your eyes. It's a dye that's picked up by some type of infrared scanner or ultraviolet or something like that. And the patent for this thing is, and this is ironic, it's 2020060606 is the patent number for it. So it was patented in 2020, and it's 060606. And it's called a financial transaction system, and it basically turns your body into a node in a financial transaction system, and so that and your body can be used as a relay. In other words, your body can pick up the one on somebody next to you, and it can just transfer it from one person to the next, and then to a tower or whatever, to one of these 5G or 10G or whatever they're coming out with now, systems, and then know where you're at all times, and keep track of your financial information, your medical information. I mean, everything. And so, the when you go back here, and this is where it's talking about the image of the beast, and this is in Revelations chapter 13, and he, talking about this beast, because this is the chapter that talks about the first and the second beast. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's exactly what this thing was saying. This AI was saying, and it'll be an image that'll come up in the future. It's going to be an image of the beast, whoever the beast is, and it's going to come up and it's going to speak. But it's going to be this AI speaking, and it's going to be able to keep track of everybody who's worshiping, because it's like I said before, it's going to be like there in Daniel where Nebuchadnezzar had this statue built, this great big statue of himself, and at a certain time of day, everybody, when they heard an instrument play of any kind, a musical instrument, they would have to fall down towards the direction of where that image was, because they may not be right there where the image itself was in a square, in like a public square or something. They might be way off from there, but they would have to turn towards the direction of where it was at and bow down at that time. And so that's what this will be, is it'll be, a certain time, there'll be musical play or some kind of signal will play, and the image will come up on your device, one of these smartphones or whatever devices around at the time, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be something like that. But ultimately, it will be in you. It will be in the individual. That's what he's talking about there. That's why if you look at, they're in 1 Corinthians and 2 Thessalonians, you got to kind of put these things together, where he's telling us this is the temple right here. And he will set himself up whenever these people receive these chips. He's going to set up inside of them, and he's going to claim, in their minds, he's going to be in their mind, or speaking in their mind. And he's going to tell them, I'm God. And they'll be able to see an image of him in their mind. And that's, and I think that is really what this is indicating here with this image of the beast. The image will pop up in your mind at a certain period, at a certain time, and you're going to have to bow down and worship. And he causes all, both in small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark of the name, or the name of his number of his name. Here's wisdom, and of course it tells you the number of his name is 666, which is it's going to be in the Greek. I think the Greeks, their letters represent numbers too. And so it would be, in the Greek. And, but anyway, that's irrelevant, the number or whatever. What's important to note is that he's setting himself up in the temple. Well, it ain't some physical structure. Because, there in 1 Corinthians, he's telling us that this right here, our bodies, is the temple. That's the temple now. There is no physical building temple. So, people are going to be led astray thinking that, that there's going to be a temple built over there and he's going to go in the Holy of Holies and of course I think that, and I may be wrong, like I said before, I'm not got no special lock on truth, but I try to go by what the scriptures is telling us here. And, if this is the temple, and then there in 2 Thessalonians, he's saying he sets himself up in the temple, making this claim that he's God, then that's telling me he's talking about this. He's going to be in people telling them this. And we already know technologically, at least I do, because again, I have a technical background. That's what I've done for 30 years. And so my job, as part of, staying up to date in my field, I had to keep abreast of the latest and greatest in technology. I had, journals from, photonics and, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, and it was just part of my continuing education is to stay up to date on the latest technology, which I don't now because, I'm too tired as far as, you got to be young and your mind's got to be really sharp and all to kind of stay up on that stuff. When I was younger, I loved it. I was gung-ho, as they say, but this here is the only thing I'm interested in now. I do try to stay abreast of as best as I can of the things that are going on. But I was aware of this technology and where it was going a long time ago. And I even told people years ago that this was coming, that and the other aspect of this AI is quantum computing, and they're getting further and further along with that stuff. And what they're going to do is whichever AI becomes the dominant AI is going to take over. It'll be so advanced and so sophisticated that it will take over all the other AI. It'll take them over. And I think this one here, and I can't remember whether it's Microsoft or Google. I think it's probably Google, because Google's really the one that's really been going whole hog on this ever since they started it. And that Sergey Win and that other guy that founded Google, they were in college together over at Stanford or somewhere. They said that their objective was not to make a search engine. That was not what they were. They were wanting to build an AI database. And what they claim, this is their statement is that they were wanting to build the mind of God. And so they have been, nonstop working on it, and they use the search engine, Google search engine, to gather information to feed this AI. That was the purpose of that. And and in the process you're gathering all of this information. That's why you can Google pretty much anything. Well, now of course you can't. They're using the AI now to suppress and to keep from people just like this stuff that just happened, where this AI made this statement to this person that was querying it. That should tell you right there, they it kind of got out before they intended on it. And whoever is this beast will be the one that will be controlling it. He'll have this person, this entity, and we don't know whether it's a person or whether it is. I think it's going to be a Nephilim. It's going to be part man and part fallen angel. Because it says that Satan himself will indwell this person. And so if we know that's exactly what he's going to do. So it's going to be a physical human person, but it's going to be indwelled by Satan, being controlled by Satan. And so I think that based on these scriptures, what they're saying is that this system, along with these Neuralink chips or, whether it's Neuralink or something else, is going to be used to communicate and to put images and to essentially control you, control your mind, control your actions. And through, and the day of worship, the day when it's going to be requiring people to bow down is going to be on Sunday. And there's already talk, that if a certain person gets elected, he's going to push for Sunday, a Sunday day of rest. And I've heard a lot of other stuff, coming, and it's not, a lot of people think it's a good thing, but a lot of it is, in my opinion, it's not. And, but, I can't, I believe that in desperation, people will do desperate things. And we already see, that things are getting bad as far as, and I hate to keep harping on it, but this invasion that's going on, and it is an invasion, whether people want to believe it or not, is going to be the pretext for, going whole hog authoritarian and, out of chaos order. I keep coming back to that, but to me, the powers that be and the secret societies, that's their mantra. And, is out of chaos order. And they're the ones that, when you look around and you see who it is that's orchestrating this chaos, who's behind it? It's globalist entities. The United Nations, the World Economic Forum, George Soros, the WTO. All of these, different globalist entities, probably the European Union, and the swamp in D.C. And, it's again, it plays into the Hegelian dialectic. And the manipulation of people. You create some kind of catastrophe or chaos or whatever, and you watch the reaction of the people, and then you enact a plan that will go along with the reaction of the people. You offer them the solution, and everybody gets on board. If the solution, people are not on board with it, then you offer another solution. You kind of back off on it. They'll it's the old take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If they have to, they'll take 2 steps forward and they get pushed back and they step back 1 step, but they still 1 step further ahead than they were. Okay, treasures now. These cats, I'll tell you. And so you have they've been doing this stuff a long time. They understand human nature and how to manipulate people. They're masters at it. And of course, and they have these fallen entities and these demonic entities working with them to accomplish, the objective, which is to deceive the whole world. That's the objective. Is Satan, and it tells us that here in Revelation, it says he deceives the whole world. Let's see, where is that at? I think it's around here in chapter 16. Let's see. Looking for something here. Here we go. And the great dragon was cast out. Well, let me go up here to verse 7. This is chapter 12 of Revelation, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. And they overcome him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of the testimony of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto the death. So before this stuff happens, he's cast out. So I see that as being something that is getting ready to happen, if it hasn't already. Because if you see how just all of a sudden, things were kind of crazy and all that, but there was sort of like a point where it just went from crazy to absolute insanity. And quickly. So I'm just thinking that, maybe he's already been cast down here, and that's why things have gotten crazy and crazier, and that, time is speeding up. Because Christ in Matthew, chapter 24 Matthew, he says, except the days be shortened, no flesh should be spared, no, not none. But for the sake of the elect, the days will be shortened. And, which is another statement about the position of Christians in this period, that they're not going to be raptured out or nothing. Pre-trib, rapture or nothing, because if the days are shortened for the sake of the elect, otherwise there wouldn't be nobody saved, physically. So we see, that if he hasn't already been cast out, he's getting ready to be. And of course, when he's cast out, he's coming down here full of wrath. He's not coming down here happy, because he's been defeated and he's cast down here. So, and he knows he's got just a little time to work before the Messiah comes and establishes his kingdom here on the earth. And so he's going to be working overtime to destroy as many people as he can. And of course, those who take this mark, there's no salvation for them. And I believe that they'll have to alter people genetically to be able to receive these things into their foreheads and stuff and not be rejected. Because I think your body's going to reject that kind of, anything like that that's put in it. It's going to be a problem. And that's one of the reasons why this guy, I guess, that took this Neuralink chip, they're going to have to, monitor it and see what they're going to have to do to keep his body from rejecting it. Because it's a foreign object to your body. Just the same as if you try to transplant another organ from another human being into your body's going to reject it. Because it's not, even if it's a close match, it's still going to reject it. And you're going to have to take these, anti-rejection drugs and stuff for the rest of your life. And so I think that one of the things that's going to be a part of that chipping system is going to be also genetic alterations involved in it. And that's why I believe people can't be saved after that, is because it changes them, their genetics enough to where they're not really anymore, they're no longer really considered human anymore. And from what I understand from listening to some of the geneticists, when you alter your DNA by just a little bit, like 1%, you're really no longer considered human anymore. You've been altered enough to where the what constitutes being a human is gone, and you're something else now, human 2.0 or whatever. And these guys over here at Cambridge University over there in England, they are huge proponents of this. They've been working on it for a long time. And they've been working on the over there, I mean, going back to like 2012, they've been working on chimeras, genetically combining different animals and humans. And of course, they claim that they, after they reached the point of viability, that they destroyed them. They just wanted to prove viability, which means that they can survive after being two different genetic sets of genetics being combined, that they are able to remain viable, in other words, alive, beyond a certain point. Because generally, I guess, whenever they do that stuff after about, in less than 10 days, if it's not going to be viable, it will die. But they reached the point of viability, like they survived for past 10 days and proved that they could do this. And of course, I know that when humans ever do anything, they're not going to be satisfied with that 10-day viability. They're going to want to take it to its final conclusion. They're going to want to take it all the way to complete development. And I would say they probably already have. I mean, it's just like whenever they created that clone, Dolly, the sheep. Well, I don't think they stopped there. I'm absolutely sure that they have cloned humans. Because again, they're always going to take it to its conclusion. They're not going to just stop with just a little 10-day trial or whatever. They're going to take it to complete, term or whatever, and see what the result is. And I've got kind of a sinus headache or something going on. But so I think it's going to be a combination of things. I think it's going to be a combination of genetic alteration and the chipping, and they have to do the genetic alterations in order to get the body to receive the chipping without rejection. And because they've been doing this stuff on animals and all, they've been implanting them in animals and all that for years. It's nothing, it's not a new thing, and this stuff is not new. There's nothing new under the sun. When you read in Ecclesiastes, it says there's nothing new. Solomon said, "I saw a thing under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun." And that goes back to the pre-flood time when they were doing all this stuff back then. It's nothing new, and it's just that, and we don't even know. I mean, if there's more people now than there was back then, we don't know. I mean, there could have been billions and billions of people back then. It doesn't take as long as people think, for the population to explode. And especially when you got these entities down here that are assisting in the doing of all this stuff, creating all these genetic abominations. And so I think that's where we're headed, and I think that's exactly what the image of the beast. It's going to start out like on a smartphone or something like that, but once they implant these chips into people, it'll go beyond that. It'll be beyond that. It'll be right directly into your mind, into your temple. And if it's not so, then they're in 1 Corinthians 3:6. 3:16 rather. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? And of course, and it says if you just defile it, and that would be defiling it. It says if you defile it, he will destroy you. And that's what's going to happen. Is that they are going to defile people's temples. That's why, it's the abomination that causeth desolation. When he gets to that point where he is going into people, and through this AI, it's through that. And because if you look at what it's saying there, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, and it caused all to receive this mark. And so this system is given the power to be able to project this image of the beast into people. And and then there in 2 Thessalonians, of course, he's saying that he sets himself up in the temple. Let me find it. And he makes the boast that he is God, and above all that is God, called God, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And know ye not that ye are the temple of God? Pretty straightforward. So that's where he's going to be setting himself up at, is inside of people. And of course, it says that he deceives the whole world. Well, it deceives the whole world because the promises of this stuff. They're gonna make promises about it. Oh, you can extend your life, and you can you can have access to all the information in the world in your mind. You can just think about it, and it'll come into your mind. I mean, to a lot of people, that's fascinating, incredible stuff. But to me, it's spooky. I mean, why would I want to let these entities and this AI into my mind? As a part of getting getting the ability to access all this knowledge and stuff, and people will, and you hear these people. I watched this video the other day. This guy, he was at a university, and he was debating one of the students there about biblical. He was a preacher or whatever, and they were having a debate, but they were having a debate peacefully. They were able to debate without getting threatening and all that kind of stuff. They were just like they were reasoning. And this girl come up, and of course she's got to be demonic, and that's the way the demonic is. She come up there and I don't want you here. I don't want your Bible here. I don't want that. And I am God. I'm my own God, is what she said. And that is the deception. Now, of course, Christ said, is it not said that ye are gods? Yeah, we are, in the sense that when we are born again and we are eventually resurrected from the dead, or we're transformed into the sons of God, then yes, we will be. But we are not yet. We are not yet. But we will be, in the future. But these people, they have taken that to a whole nother level of that they believe that they are gods. And so they want these godlike powers. So they'll be willing to take this stuff and do this stuff to transform themselves. And I think that's why you have all of this programming, like the Marvel comics and the Wolverines and all this kind of stuff, is getting people prepared for it. Oh, or like Spider-Man, working in the lab, and or the Hulk. Some kind of experiment and give them this superpower. That's where that comes from. And it is to make it exciting, make it desirable. I can have the vision of a hawk, or the speed of a cheetah. This is the whole purpose of all of that stuff, all this indoctrination, and programming in these movies and stuff, is to make this stuff desirable, so that when they roll it out, a lot of people's going to be on board with it, with the genetic alterations and with the implanting of these chips, and allowing the interface into their mind by this beast. I mean, it's pretty obvious what they're in, and they're intending. Of course, these things that has hindered them. One is the United States. We're probably about the last bastion of political hope for the world, because the rest of the world's pretty much done been, subjected, man. They really is not anything they can do. They've been taken over. And so the last thing that's the hindrance to them is the United States from rolling out their reset or whatever. And I think that, again, we're being led down the primrose path to believe that there's a political solution to our troubles. And I think this political solution is actually just going to lead us right into this this system that we're trying to avoid going into. I think it's two sides of the same coin. And there's a apocryphal book called Second Ezra, and it talks about. Oh, excuse me, I didn't get a lot of sleep because I had one of them cats. She's in heat, meow meow meowing all night long. She couldn't be still. Now she's sleeping. Keeps me up all night. Now she's sleeping. But anyway, the book of Second Ezra, or Ezra, is about there's a section in it. It's about a three-headed eagle, and about how the one head goes around and it bites off the head. The right head bites off the left head, and then you left with really with just this two-headed eagle, or really just one-headed eagle, I guess. But and some people believe that that's talking about the United States, that the political right is going to destroy the political left, and you're going to have just this merger into just one head. I guess we'll have to see, but it's looking like that. I mean, the way things are going, it's, especially after the State of the Union the other night. I didn't watch it. I'll leave that for other people that are, have got the patience and tolerance to sit there and listen to that man. But from what they said, it was a dark and divisive speech. And this guy's said he's the unifier. He's the one that can unify the country, and he ain't done anything but divide us in every way that possible. And then you got this other one over here that is unifying. Everybody is flocking over. The more that they come after him, and with the political, legal, lawfare or whatever, all these charges against him and stuff. And of course the Supreme Court keeps shutting it down. I mean, as far as like they try to take him off the voter rolls and stuff like that, off the the Supreme Court in a 9-0 decision said no, you can't do that. And so you see how, and it's kabuki theater. It's a type of theater, like like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and I'm just merely a player. Well, that is true. That's true. But some of these people are pretty poor actors. You can just almost see what's going on. You can see this. This one side's deliberately alienating everybody that is their constituents and kind of pushing them towards the other side. Is this by chance or is it by design? And I like to think that it's by design, because just too many things, there's just no such thing as coincidence, really. Things have there's causation. There's something behind it that causes things to play out the way they do. There's people orchestrating it. And, and it's like I said, it's the Hegelian thing where they do something, and then they look at what the reaction of people is, and then they base their solution off of how people react. And so if you're wanting to bring somebody in, and put them in a position of power, but the way you do it is you put them in there one time, and they do everything they said they was going to do. They everything they promised that they would do or would attempt to do, they did. And then you got this other guy gets elected because of all the misinformation and all the lies, all this, that make this other guy out, that he didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. But then people begin to realize now, because this new person comes in and things go to torment in a handbasket. I mean, everything starts falling apart. And then you got this other guy that was in there that made all these promises and kept them. And now he's saying, look, compare us. You had a booming economy. We had energy independence. We had no new wars. We had peace. And, I was, working actively to make, equitable trade deals for the United States. And, so now you have this huge contrast. And so, people, even people that were never Trumpers or whatever and hated the man, now they're coming out in favor of it. And so, even Mitch McConnell, he's capitulated. That the Republican Party is the MAGA party. It's been taken over. It's not the old neocon, Bush, Cheney, Republicans. It's a whole new party. And so it's either capitulate or, be cast aside. And so he comes out and endorses Trump, and he says he's stepping down, at the end of his term, at the end of the year or whatever. And so you can kind of see how everything is going to where basically you're going to just have this one political entity that has unified all the different sects or different political philosophies and beliefs or whatever all into one. And then you start listening to about the Sunday Sabbath law, and you hear about the capital punishments, and even talk about beheading with bringing guillotines back. And they have them. They already have them. They ain't no bringing them back. They already have these things. They've got them by the tens of thousands. And I believe it was Barack Obama who was the one that brought them in from Mexico. They were made down in Mexico, and they brought them in by and so I see all this stuff is being played out. It's just a big orchestration, and everybody's playing their part and their role. And behind the scenes, they're probably all back there shaking hands and patting each other on the back. We've done it. We pulled it off. And so I guess it'll be, we'll have to wait to see. But what I wanted to get across in this is that this is the temple right here. And that's where he's going to set up, and he's going to make, proclaim that he's God. Not in some building out here. Because I just don't think there's going to be no rebuilt temple. I think there's going to just be an altar. They may make a tabernacle or something. Because, for one, they would have to build it up on the Temple Mount, and with as long as the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock is there, I don't see that happening. And of course, if it got destroyed or something like that to try to make way for it, you'd have World War III. There's just no doubt about it. And of course, that is going to come. I mean, there is going to be a World War III. I mean, there's no doubt about that either. But and it's going to be triggered over there. That's, the Middle East is going to be the trigger point for it. There's no doubt about that either. Scriptures makes that pretty clear that's the, and it's just obvious that is the boiling point in the world right now. Yeah, Ukraine's an issue, but I'm talking about as far as really starting, because everybody's trying to get involved over there in what's going on in Israel right now. You got China involved, trying to get involved, Russia involved, the European Union. I mean, everybody, United Nations. I mean, everybody's wanting to be, get involved and come against Israel. And that's, it says that's what would happen. That the whole world would come against them. And of course, if the United Nations is coming against them, then that really is kind of the whole world, isn't it? And they've always been against them. The only thing that's really been the kind of the only holdout is the United States, and we have the overriding vote in there. I mean, our vote is the final word. Whatever we say, that's what's going to happen. And of course, we see one of the things too that's happening now is the United Nations is moving a whole bunch of their people over to Nigeria. Of course, the people that are going there, they're some kind of one of the agencies of the United Nations, but like 6,000 people that are in New York that are moving. Does that have any kind of implications about what's going to happen to the United States? I mean, destruction, and they know it, and they want to get out. And they pull out one unit at a time, one agency at a time, so that it's not so obvious. Maybe, I don't know. But you see how this is all like theater. It's just different people playing their roles, and they're bringing it it's trying to bring it to its conclusion, which is, of course, the beast system. The system itself is already in place. It's just a matter of the person that's going to be ruling over it has got to show up on the scene, or make his appearance known. And of course, the first horseman of the four horsemen, the first one comes in peaceably, and it's a ruler. And I believe it'll be, the Holy Roman Emperor, as it was, Constantine, to be somebody that is coronated by the Pope, and, given that authority. Because there's two beasts. There's a political, military beast, and then there's a religious beast. And one will promote the other. And one will be the enforcer of it. The military political entity, the Constantine, the new Constantine, will enforce the religious system. But there'll be people that join with the beast, these 10 kings, that will hate the harlot or the religious system, and ultimately will destroy it. But think about that. What I've said here about this being the temple, our bodies being the temple, and that is where he's going to sit at and claim to be God. And I believe this is how they're going to do it. They're going to do it through technology. They're going to do it through the implantation of these chips and using AI and having a link to your mind by AI, which will be able to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you're worshiping when you're supposed to be worshiping, and that you're going along with the program. And of course, once these people take this, they will anyway. I mean, excuse me, because like I said, they're going to be captivated. They're going to be captured. Their minds are going to be under the control of this thing, and that's how they'll be able to use these people to come after the. But like I said, this AI, and I've talked about that before this thing come out and said that about them using drones and robots to come after people. The idea of people thinking that, well, I got my Second Amendment rights and I got my guns and you ain't gonna be able to stand up against this stuff, man. Nobody is. I mean, even people with militaries aren't going to be able to do anything about it. Who is likened unto the beast? Who was able to make war against it? I mean, it's just that. I mean, you're talking, and we're talking, if it was in the 1800s where, you just, gun against gun or something, you could probably have a chance. against the tyrannical system. But today, with the technology the way it is, no. And I believe they're using lasers and stuff like that, causing these fires like there in Lahaina and over here in Texas and places like that. I mean, people said they've seen these beams. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I ain't there. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But they're claiming that. And it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Texas is one of these states that's, they are a rogue state. They're bucking the system. They're bucking, the people, the deep state. They're bucking them, and they don't like it. And so they can send weather. A lot of devastating weathers hit Texas. Hurricanes and these freezes. I mean, where everything was just froze. And it was really kind of strange. I mean, weather people was like, man, this is just not normal. And so that's how they'll be able to put people in line. Other countries and stuff. I mean, you don't do what we say, we're going to send we'll send a hurricane over here against you, or we'll send an earthquake. They can also generate earthquakes. I mean, that's Nikola Tesla was doing it. I mean, he developed the resonant frequency generators that would cause, they would match the resonance of whatever that they were put on, and it would cause it to start shaking uncontrollably. So, that's why I've said too, about the differences in the physics, Tesla physics versus Einstein physics. One's the real physics, the other one is pseudo physics. Make you just go after, down rabbit holes. As where the true physics, you can, all kinds of knowledge and technology, so-called anti-gravity, all that stuff. They have all that. They've had it. And so, as far as trying to resist them, the only thing that people are going to, have a chance is if they have the seal of the Most High Elohim. If they are sealed. And of course, his seal is keeping the Sabbath. And, you'd be surprised. There isn't that many people that keep the true Sabbath. There really isn't. They are a small minority of people. And so, it's not, the majority are keeping Sunday. And of course, that is their seal. The seal of Satan. But I just kind of wanted to put that out there to people so they can kind of really get a true understanding of what it's talking about. That it's not talking about some building. It's talking about people. And that this is the temple, and this is where our Elohim dwells, his spirit dwells whenever we are born again. And he just impressed it on me. I mean, like I said, I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep, and it just, this was on my mind about this AI, what it said. And and he tied it all together for me. He just basically linked it to the scripture there I just said about us being a temple, and that's what it's talking about. This lawless one that sets himself up in the temple. That's what it's talking about. And so we need to understand that, because people are going to be looking for a temple and all that stuff to be built and him to go, in there. That's not it. And so with that, I'm going to leave it with you. You can ponder this, meditate about it, read it for yourselves, and just, ask the Father to give you understanding, and, to see if he will reveal what he did to me. And it's not like he just speaks to me or something. It's not like that. It's just an impression. You know, that these things pop into my mind, and you know, I get woke up and out of a dead sleep, and these things are in my mind. You know, about the temple and about that AI. You know, that made that statement to that person. And so, with that being the case, I'm going to leave it with you. As I always say, be good Bereans. You know, don't, you know, listen to what I got to say, but you study and find out for yourself. And with that, I love you. I pray for you. I hope that you will all be blessed, that you will, you know, pray for your strength to be your faith to be strengthened, and that we all might be able to stand in these times that are coming, and to stay faithful to our Messiah. And with that, I'll see you again on the next Shabbat if Yahuwah is willing.